Hey guys, it's Vince and Amy. We're here, episode 3 today. Beautiful sunny morning. We're out here on a Sunday thinking about marriage. We're going to talk about marriage today.
Hi. Okay, cool.
Are you ready?
We've done that for a little while.
Are you ready?
I'm ready there.
We're going to be celebrating 27 years of marriage this November. And I don't know. Tell us what you think that has made our marriage successful. Why have we made it to almost 27 years?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of cliche stuff. I think, first off, we've been really good friends, right? I mean, on top of it, it's, we're a yin and a yang. You know what I mean? I'm a driver. You're, a coddler, and this is all positive stuff, but it's just, you're the raising of the kids. You're that person, you know what I mean? So we've made a good partnership, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I like the term you used, yin and yang, because I think we are a bit opposite. But I really like the characteristics that I feel like I lack, that you have, and vice versa. I think sometimes Vince is 110 miles an hour all the time. He's an early riser. I like to stay up late. He likes to get up early. So I've really had to adapt. More so, I think, than you, because you just naturally, that's you naturally.
Yeah.
Now that I'm in the working world, I force myself to get up earlier, and sometimes that's really hard for me, but it's made me more productive, I think, too.
Yeah, I open my eyes and I'm in third gear. I mean, it's just how I'm wired, right? I mean, it's and I think it drove you crazy in the beginning.
It's exhausting. Let's just be real. I'm sometimes exhausted because your personality is so big that sometimes in the morning I'm just like, I need 5 more minutes.
Right.
So interesting conversation last night we had. I was like, Vince said, hey, what time are we getting up? When are we doing the video in the morning? And I was like, well, we don't really have any. Amy, we have this, and this to do today. Let's get up early. And I was like, oh, I just really want to sleep in. And your response was, you just train your brain to get up early.
I'm a firm believer in you don't need sleep. I mean, I think you talk yourself into it that you need sleep. I mean, I know with me, when I get too much sleep, it's worse for me.
Yeah.
But this has turned into a sleep
I know.
video.
I'm sorry.
I mean, we're talking about marriage, but anyway, it's all good.
So marriage, yeah. Yin and yang. I do also like what you said is that we're friends. I think we've discovered over the years, like, I really like you.
I hope so.
I like hanging out with you when the kids aren't around, because now they're getting older.
Yeah.
Like, you're my buddy. You're the guy that I go to when I want to say I'm really happy or sad. You're the guy that I want to tell the most exciting news of the day to, and also the worst news of the day. Or I'm frustrated with this, or you can't believe what this kid said to me. I want to wring her neck or his neck or whatever. So I think that being friends is super important. For me, it's all about communication.
Yeah, communication is and we're good communicators, and you see that when we have issues, you can really and issues is that, listen, we're not perfect. We have fights. We disagree all the time, and I think if you really boil it down, the issues that we do have are times that we've been away for no reason, but just that we didn't communicate through things.
Yeah, I think sometimes life gets busy. And so what happens is, and this does happen to us because we are busy people. Our kids are busy people. So it will go several days, and something will be festering or a conversation needs to be had. And what we found ourselves doing now is that conversation has to happen tonight. If you're too busy at work, or I can't talk because I have kids around, or whatever the situation is, we need to have that conversation tonight. It has to happen. And then we just have to commit to one another to make time to make it happen. And it could be as simple as something that we're doing with our home, or a decision that we're making for money, or we need to talk about one of the kids because we feel like, direction, we've got to reset them in direction. So it could be something like that. So communication, being good friends. What else?
Trust.
Yeah, that's a great
I mean,
one.
we trust each other.
Yeah.
I mean, and really the quickest way that I've found is trust, is transparency. If you're transparent, we're an open book. We're an open book with pretty much everybody, right?
Yeah.
Both of us. And everybody's not like that. Everybody's not built like that. Or I used the term wired, earlier. Some people, I've always said there's two people. If we meet you today, you can come to dinner and have a sleepover the first night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people need 6 months to become friends. We are real good at making quick friends.
Yeah.
Fast friends.
I would agree with that.
And I think that really boils over into, our relationship, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
And then, so if you're transparent, you trust each other, and in some relationships we've all got them, friends and stuff like that. If they can't get a hold of each other for 15, 20, 30 minutes, it's perceived that there's something bad going on, or they're doing something, right? I mean, hell, we can almost go a day, and not that we do it that often, and there's nothing bad going on, with either of us. So.
Right. So why do you think that some marriages, I mean, obviously, we've talked about now being friends and communicating and trusting. Why do you think some relationships don't make it?
God, that's a great question. I don't know. We've been in one for so long. I mean, from what I perceive is that I don't think it's bad or good. It's just, I think sometimes people grow away from each other. It's, there's this perception out there, and it's worked for us, that we're still together, all these years, and really 27 years plus 8 years dating, right? With really one small breakup.
So like more than our entire lives. I mean, it's or most of our life. Yeah.
Right. But I don't know. I think people buy into this perception. It's till death do us part, in a situation like that. And then you see relationships, they start to go sideways, and then there becomes this mean piece that you almost have to have things that you have to fight about in order to substantiate the breakup, right? It's tough, and then you add kids in there. If something happened to us, we still got kids that are going to graduate from high school, college, get married, have kids.
You got to be
and that sets the stage for some pretty awkward meetings going forward. You know what I mean? Now you bring, we have them right now. You have a separation. Now you got the new dad and the new mom, right?
Right.
Now that comes into it, that always adds
pressure.
That's pressure and
frustration and lack of communication. I think too, like, to add on to what you're saying, is that I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but marriage is work.
Oh,
it's just like raising kids. Like Gianna being our oldest kid, you try things, and every kid's different. So you think you're heading down this path, and maybe it's not working for the second kid. Well, we did this with her, but that didn't work well, or this worked well. But this kid's got a different personality. Rocco's got a different personality. So it's work. So just like you and I, you're growing and changing. I'm growing and changing. We've had some bumps in the road. It hasn't been all peaches and cream, but I think we have dedicated the work and dedicated the time into one another, because I not only just love you, I adore you, and I feel so much love for you that for me it's worth it. So I think sometimes that we get in this cycle of unhappiness.
You mean the work is worth it?
100%.
Right, okay, I got you. Okay.
Because if you don't do it, it's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you agree? It's easier to be like, forget it. I am worn out. I don't have time to fight with you anymore. I don't have time to, make this work. And it's just going to be easier for me to start fresh and move on. Yeah,
that's been a big deal for me too. Is that I if you remember, in the beginning of our relationships too, is that I would hold a grudge, and I still have that issue. It's not a grudge.
You've gotten way better though.
I had the ability to not talk for 2 or 3 days, and that's just not in your DNA. I mean,
not whatsoever.
I push away and shut down. You know what I mean? Because I don't have the brain power to have this fight over here and do all the stuff that I have to do operationally, personally and professionally. So that's always been. So anyway, so I think once again, we talked about it last time, it's just a mindset. You just got to flip that switch off and just say, hey, listen, I'm not going 2-3 days. It's just not worth the mental or physical anguish.
Well, I think the mental and physical, you hit it on the head, because I know for me, it just consumes me. If I feel like I can't have a conversation with you, or can't make up with you, or can't move past it, whether we agree to disagree on something, or we say, okay, listen, for all practical purposes, you were right in this one, I'll try better, or vice versa. Amy, you know what? You had a really good point. You were right in this situation or whatever. Because then it becomes this like, you're right, I'm right, I win, you win. You need to step away from the situation a lot of times. I don't. I want to just be like, I just want to make everything better and everyone love each other, and I don't ever want to fight because I can't stand conflict. Yeah. So that's the big difference between us there. But I think work is important.
No, you say work, I don't care what it is. I mean, a relationship with your kids, your spouse, your significant other, the rest of your family. There's a lot of things that you need to do in order to. It's time. It's you got to put the work in. You got to put the effort in. People can pick up whether you're putting effort in to have a relationship with me or vice versa, right? I mean, that's an easy pickup. It's and that really goes into just everything, not just relationships with wives or significant others. That's my MO when I walk in the morning. Everybody, I have 20 people that report directly to me, and right now we're just actually coming back from the COVID situation where everybody's coming back in the office. But I make a point every morning to get a pulse of what's going on with them. Right? I make eye contact with them. I say good morning, and that just sets the tone of where they're at. All 20 of them, you know what I mean? And then really the folks that are around us too. So I probably got another 20 that I check in with, you know what I mean? But maybe not every day, but my 20 for sure. And, if I see something's off, you know what I mean? I check, you know what I mean? Let's let that go. And it's not that I got to jump into them and say, oh my God, what's wrong? You know what I mean? Type deal. So, hey, so-and-so's off, good. And, sometimes just a smile and the way you greet somebody in the morning can turn them the other way too, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's face it. You know what I mean? People are at home. There are certain situations they're in, you know what I mean? With sickness, relationships, whatever it may be, you know what I mean? And sometimes just setting the tone and a smile sets them off to have a good day. But they know, all the folks that, are on my team is that I'll typically let you have a bad day. Maybe, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'll even point it out. Hey, it didn't seem like you're on task today, or, you know what I mean? You're all here today, tomorrow's going to be a better day, right? And we set the day up for tomorrow.
So that transfers into our own home because we know right out of the gate if one of us is off or frustrated or whatever. And same with our kids. You can check in with them and be like, they need some space right now. What's going on? Why are you so frustrated? And I've often said, I'll tell everybody in the whole house, I'm just having a bad day today. Yeah. And let everybody know, guess what? I'm having kind of a crappy day. So everybody know that. Don't push my buttons too hard. Okay? And but same with you. I think you have the tendency to just, you kind of close your mouth and then you're out. And then usually one of the kids will say, ooh, Dad having a rough day today, which doesn't happen hardly ever often. But I think it's then also, this leads me to the next thing about marriage is respect. Yeah. So that's a big one. Is respecting one another, but also respecting one another how am I going to say this? Together, but also individually. Like, I respect you as a person, but I also respect your space. Yeah. Like, there's certain things that you need that I don't need, and then vice versa. Yeah. I am a hugger, nurtured, love, take care of, that kind of person. But I also, I crave that. My 20-year-old, 18-year-old, and 15-year-old, I'm still all over them. I still want hugs and loves and kisses and stuff. And so I think it's respect of one another and respect of one another's individualities, and then also respect of space. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah,
you hit the term that I was struggling to get earlier, the nurturer piece. I don't know why I struggle getting it, but that explains you. And that's your yin, right? We go back to when we first started having kids. I'm a rub dirt on it, get up, let's go, come on, pick them up, dust them off, let's go. You know what I mean? So I learned early on, that the Miss Nurturer here had a knack, just an innate ability to say, nope, they're sick, there's something wrong. I haven't even taken their temperature yet, but I can look at them, I can feel them, I can, get that vibe that something's going on, and lo and behold, 102.5 temperature or whatever. Next thing you know, we're throwing them in an ice bath or whatever, and if it was up to me, the kid would have boiled to death probably.
That's not true, but I know what you mean. It's just that the balance of it all. Yeah. Okay, so So in saying all that, what would be your advice to our kids as they are growing up and they're going to be taking next steps? What should they, you hope that you're modeling for them. Like, that's my hope, is that they're modeling our relationship, and not 100%. You want them to be their own people, right?
No.
But you hope that they're seeing how we're friends. They're seeing how we enjoy being around one another. They're seeing how we fight. They're seeing how we make up. They're seeing how we drive one another and support one another and encourage one another, which are all awesome things.
Yeah.
But then what are they getting out of it? So what advice, if you had to give them advice on, as they grow up, what are you looking for in a partner?
Well, I think the first thing is you got to peel the onion back a little bit. I mean, you can read books or listen to YouTube or things like that. You have your kids till about 12 or 13 years old. People think that, really you have, and that might even be a little bit long now, but in order to set their values, right, that are close to you. I mean, and then you have other things at 12 or 13, now they have friends that are coming into the picture. They have social media now. They have, all sorts of other pressures coming on. And then if you think about it too, is that I firmly believe in this. You think about that 17 to 19-year-old phase in your life. Look what you have coming in. You're driving. Mm-hmm. You have drugs. Yep. You have sex. Yep. You have alcohol. Yep. Now you're trying to figure out relationships. The one thing that I compare to that it was like a difficult phase in your life, but you have a partner in it, is having a kid. Right? But when you're 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, somewhere in there, you have a lot of things crashing in on you. Oh, you're graduating from high school. You're going to college. Now you got to start. Now you get this pressure of figuring out your life, right? And looking back at it, you're like, it wasn't that big of a deal. I put a lot of pressure on myself, right? But you don't know, right? So in saying that, then they're sitting there during that whole time, they're trying to find what a relationship means and figure it out and things like that. Who do they look to? Right. They look to their parents to kind of figure that out. Hey, what do they do in this situation? And don't kid yourself. They're watching everything you're doing, saying, and acting like. And I think that's key. You know what I mean? But the problem is you don't want to put a facade on or be fake from that standpoint. They got to live the real life.
Oh, because they know everything.
They know everything.
They read everything. They know everything. The famous thing is our oldest. We could be having a conversation about something so quietly, and if she heard her name, she could be on the other side of the house, and she'd be like, "What are you guys talking about?" Yep. It was like unbelievable bionic ear that she could hear. So they catch everything. Yeah,
but I think going back, I think I danced around your question though. I apologize, but I think number one, I think you got to stay out of their way. I think parents and I think you do this more than me. I'm just like, hey, let them figure it out. My feeling is that they got to get into a relationship and figure it out on their own. There's no handbook. There's nothing you're going to say. And, Gianna, our oldest, she's in a pretty serious relationship, a couple years now with a really, really good guy that we have a lot of respect for. He's a hard worker, and, he kind of, and she had a couple failed relationships that, we're just like, boy, that one's going to be a tough one to go long term on, and she figured it out herself, right? Yeah. We didn't have to for her. So just, guide them, keep them in the rails, you know what I mean? But parents can't get involved in the relationships, in my opinion, because it causes too much pressure, and I think the kids don't need it.
But I would also say in regards to that, because I do agree with you on that, but also be available. Be available, because I found myself having conversations with all three kids about different relationships that they've come to me for, that maybe questions that I was like, it's kind of interesting. That's an interesting. So being honest with them, and when they ask the questions, being available and honest. Mom, what do you think? What do you think about this? And I love that, because I think the more open book that you are, and the more honest and the more available you are, the more good, healthy conversation you're going to have up front, so they can be guided through whatever relationships they come upon in life.
You make a point. You touch our kids once, even when they're at college, daughter Grand Rapids, once, twice a day. I mean, how many days a week still do you still say goodnight to all of them, whether it's
Yeah.
text or stuff? I mean,
If
I
they're
think
not
it's
in the
all-
house, it's a big deal for me. I
Yeah,
got to
good
know
night.
where my babies are at.
Yeah, and you do it, right?
And
Even
they're
if
respectful. They
Yeah.
all say, okay, we'll do it.
and
Yeah.
they know, and they've learned, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good night, Mom. You know,
Yeah.
from that standpoint. But here we go again. We're at
Okay,
20
minutes.
Yeah, no, it's important, I think.
All right, guys. We love you. Have a great week, and we'll release the next episode hopefully in a week.
Yeah, we officially think summer's here, so get out and enjoy it today. We're going to do that and go from there. Thanks, guys.
All
Have
right,
a great
see you
rest
later.
of your day.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.